Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. It's Laura from Tenacious Taurus Tarot and Astro Insight. So we're going to talk about the energies coming in for the collective for the week ahead. These are going to be energies for the week of November 11th through the 17th. And so we've got the last full week of Pluto in Capricorn. And so this kind of is the final countdown of energies. We got some pretty potent aspects playing out this week leading into the last super moon of the year, the Taurus full moon, super moon on Friday. So let's get into these energies. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, comment on the video, share the video, please, especially if you're resonating with the message. It's just a nice way to help the channel grow. And remember, this is all about guidance. This is all about empowerment. These energies, the cards, they're not here to tell you what to do. They're just here to kind of give you a nudge in the right direction so you can start creating the life that you truly desire. So let's talk about this final countdown before jumping into the energies coming through this week. And so Pluto is at that 29th degree in Capricorn. It's at that analytical degree. And so we're in the final week of Pluto in Capricorn, and we are ending a 16-year era. And so on November 19th, next week, Pluto is going to enter into Aquarius, and it is going to stay there. And it's going to be an initiation for what's to come over the next 2 decades as we go into this Aquarian area and we manifest the age of Aquarius. And so in order to truly move forward into this air energy, we kind of need to make sure that we've learned our Capricornian, Plutonian lessons. And so when Pluto moves into Aquarius, it won't make much of a difference if you keep choosing to repeat the same mistakes, whether it's individually or collectively. And so we kind of have to find the courage to embrace real change. Real change takes a lot of time. Transformation takes time. That's why Pluto transits are so very long in length. It's the furthest planet out there. And so Pluto initially comes in to expose what isn't working, kind of to expose the dirt. And then it is a process of confronting corruption, what needs to decay eventually in order to lead us to finding more sustainable solutions and foundations for the future. And so the general themes of Pluto and Capricorn began back in 2008. So look back to 2008, 2007, 2008. Back then we did have that major global financial crisis. It revealed all kinds of flaws within the financial systems, and so it did lead to a lot of systematic reforms. Who knows what is coming as Pluto transitions into Aquarius, but there's going to be some type of shift for sure, I feel, connected to the financial systems within the collective. And so these Plutonian themes were centralized around power and control, both in our individual lives and within the collective. And so right now it's kind of exploiting all of the drudgery at that 29th degree. And so we kind of have to become more vigilant when it comes to abusers. And so abuse is going to be far less tolerated as we go into the age of Aquarius. And so I don't know about you, but I can no longer be confined by that 9-to-5 lifestyle. I'm here for personal growth. I love the flexibility of being an entrepreneur. And so when we went through that COVID-19 crisis back in 2020, this was the beginning of destabilizing these Capricornian structures. There was a lot of truth that came out. The veil of illusion was pierced for many of us in the collective. There was a lot of experiences when it comes to the trauma of job loss over the vaccines, and I'm not getting into that. But this was all to push those of us on the awakening path towards more authentic careers within our lives. And so Pluto kind of comes to disempower us, to bring a new awareness so we can transform out of a mundane cycle. And so this process is going to be the same no matter what Pluto's energy is shifting into. And so there's going to be an initiation experience, I feel, when Pluto moves from Capricorn to Aquarius. And we kind of got a little bit of a feel like that when it dipped into Aquarius before it stationed retrograde and dipped back into Capricorn for this final cleanup. And so we can no longer try to keep control of things that aren't meant to be controlled, whether it's family, whether it's a corporation, whether it's a hierarchical system. And so traditions are kind of shifting. And I know I felt that shifting in my own personal life. And so what has Pluto taught you over the last 15 years? When I think of Capricorn, I think of the father energy as well. And so we need to learn to rely less on larger corporations, I feel, and the governments. And we are here to reinvent ourselves as we move into this air energy. So are you ready to adapt? Are you ready to maybe secure a new way of creating resources in these new Aquarian energies? Because this is all about self-sufficiency, I feel. And so what is the silver lining when it comes to these disempowering experiences? It's self-awareness, right? And so to be disempowered brings you to a new state of awareness of self. And then it allows this transformation to kind of follow suit. And so the last 15 years for me, I have transformed my life many times over, and I've transformed my social group, and I transformed through many different career cycles as well over the last 15 years. And I've definitely felt crushed at that very prominent father wound over the last 15 years. And so all of these experiences have taught me how to build resilience, how to build a solid foundation of self without needing a man around. And I've used this time, especially since 2019, to develop new spiritual skills. And so we kind of got to tap into our unused resources in order to transform. And so what is the personal impact that Pluto has played on you? Because this is the final week to close up these lessons and to learn these lessons. And so I know I'm coming to a new understanding. And so this will all have affected us at a personal level differently, depending on our own natal chart. So my 11th house is Capricorn, which is all about the community. And so in order to understand how Pluto's maybe been influencing you, have a look at which house Capricorn has been transiting throughout this Pluto and Capricorn theme. And so along with the aspects maybe Pluto has made to you in your own personal birth chart. But basically, we're kind of at that final home stretch where we've got to connect the dots. We've got to connect the dots. We're coming into a broader perspective. And like I said, this lesson is going to come full circle based on your own personal birth chart. So let's talk about how this kind of ties in to the energies this week. Because today, on Monday, we are in the 1111 portal. And we are going to have Venus moving into Capricorn. And so it's going to be transiting through Capricorn, Venus in Capricorn from today, November 11th, through December the 7th. And so love is probably going to be the last thing on your mind as Venus transits through Pluto. This is kind of an energy of being focused on business and personal goals. So this is all about taking a disciplined approach to relationships, to finances, to your own personal ambitions. And this does favor long-term planning when it comes to these Venusian aspects. And so what is it that you value? I know I'm looking for endurance within connections. I want reliability. I want faithfulness when it comes to partnerships, whether it be business, friendships, or romantic. And so where we take our expressing our feelings in this energy, it's kind of like a more serious connotation with Venus in Capricorn. And so we're kind of being asked to take our time. When it comes to opening up to others, we're being asked to put the brakes on, slow it down, and take our time warming up to people. And so this is a very guarded and reserved energy when it comes to expressing feelings and maybe even revealing a relationship to people. So this is also a beautiful energy depending on where Venus is transiting in your birth chart, where the underdog that has worked really hard to put in a lot of effort on the path is about to finally reap the rewards of that hard work. It's the energy of kind of stepping into the sun, stepping into the spotlight. And so this cycle of Venus in Capricorn is really going to favor business goals. It's really going to favor long-term investments, whether it be relationships or finances. And then on Tuesday, the 12th, we're going to have Mercury forming a square to Saturn. And so this is the first time Mercury will be square Saturn from now until December 21st, due to the fact that Mercury is going to be going retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius. So this is going to be a lot of hard mental work while Mercury transits through Sagittarius. And so we're going to have 3 opportunities to dig deep. We're going to have 3 opportunities to do the deep dive into this very difficult mental work. There's going to be communication problems. When squares are in aspect, this is a very difficult energy to work with. And there's going to be a lot of negative thinking that we're going to have to work through collectively and individually. And so this is going to be a very difficult energy to work with. It can lead to a lot of misunderstandings and conflicts. So if you're aware, then maybe you can avoid the conflicts, but you really do need to pay attention to detail with these energies. You got to take that time. You got to be more open to adjusting your opinions as well, because this is a very opinionated energy, I feel. And so this really is a time, I feel, over the next several weeks as Mercury transits through Sagittarius, of working solo, flying solo. It's solo work. It's solitary work. And so you're going to want to take careful consideration over the coming weeks, because many, many lessons can be learned from this aspect, but it's going to take a little bit of time to complete these lessons due to the retrograde and these transits happening 3 times. I don't know about you, but everything on my spiritual path usually happens in 3s. And so the 3 big energies that I feel are in focus with Mercury transiting through Sag, and this Mercury square Saturn energy, is sacrifice, surrender, and the role of relationships when it comes to personal growth. And so this really is a time of letting go of these old patterns, these old attachments, these old memories, in order to embrace the uncertainty of the future. And we are never sure of the future until it actually happens. And so we kind of need to focus on deeper emotional connections. I don't know about you, but I'm all done with surface level, and I'm all done settling for less than what I know that I deserve. And so on Thursday the 14th, we're going to have Mercury sextile Lilith. And so Lilith is in Libra. And this brought forward the energy of the Devil card and the Judgment card in my 3rd eye. We're also going to have Venus forming a square to the North Node. And these are 2 cardinal energies. And this also brought forward the Empress with the 4 of Swords. So if the 4 of Swords is all about healing, healing the divine feminine collective was a big message. And so the Lilith aspect is encouraging us to embrace our unique perspectives. It's encouraging us to communicate ourselves with authenticity. And so this is all about speaking your truth with a sense of power, and not being afraid of the consequences of speaking your truth, and knowing that others will accept you and respect you when it comes to being honest. And so how can you explore the intersection of liberation and temptation? I feel that was a strong message, because we kind of got to deal with all of these skeletons in the closet in order to get our shit together so we can start living our best lives, right? We can't live our best lives when we got all these skeletons in the closet haunting us, holding us back. And so it really is time to confront these skeletons, and it's time to let go of all of our negative vices when it comes to any type of addictions. And so we can't ignore our higher purpose. Venus square North Node might bring forward this energy of like, oh, I want to hide in my shell. I want to ignore my higher purpose. I want to avoid opening up my heart. But that's just going to keep you on the solitary path. And we are not meant to be a standalone island. We are here for true intimate connection. And so the solitary path will never truly bring you the results that you are seeking. And it's not to say you can't be single. There's nothing wrong with being single, but we can't be a standalone island on the path either. We do need connection to learn, to grow, because relationships of all kinds are vehicles for growth. And so resentments are likely going to come up. Bitterness is going to come up. Any simmering resentments below the surface are going to have to come to the forefront in order to be dealt with. And so we do have to understand, we do need to be able to speak up for what it is that we feel and what it is that we need from others. It doesn't mean that they're going to meet those needs, but our needs will never fully be met if we can't communicate wholeheartedly with another when it comes to relationships. And so this really is a time of focusing on desires, focusing on needs, and definitely focusing on self-care and nurturing your inner self. Friday, that's the big day. Friday, November the 15th, we're going to have the last super moon of the year. It's going to be in the sign of Taurus. It's a full moon at 24 degrees, and this screamed Queen of Wands. divine feminine rising. This day is also a day when Saturn finally stations direct in Pisces after months and months of retrograde. And this brought forward the Hanged Man with the Ace of Cups. And so we got to keep in mind this full moon in Taurus is very tightly conjunct Uranus, which is all about disruptions and awakenings. And so Uranus is kind of pushing us to re-examine what's truly grounding us and whether what is grounding us is still serving us or not. So anything we've been working on building and establishing when it comes to security is likely to get upheaved and uprooted if it was built on lies or false pretenses. And so with this full moon also in very close proximity to the fixed star Algol, this is the infamous demon star. And so this is kind of all about losing our heads. So you don't want to lose your head, but the divine really is pushing us, I feel, this full moon to release all of these old structures in order to pave way for the new, in order to make way for new roots to grow. And so we've got this scorpionic pull as well with the sun opposite the moon when it comes to transformation. So transformation is definitely at the forefront. And then we're going to have this full moon trine Pluto. So this is an invitation to alchemy. So this is an invitation to alchemy, to reclaiming our power and to transmuting all of these challenges into liquid gold, which would be that wisdom, that spiritual wisdom. And so we are facing endings. Endings always lead to new beginnings, but ultimately this Taurus supermoon is inviting us to let go of everything that is no longer serving us in order to allow that new solid foundation to form. And when Saturn stations direct that same day, this is when all of those plans fall apart, especially surrounding control issues. So everything's going to rear its ugly head this week, I feel. And so this is going to be a very super painful wake-up call moment for those that have been, you know, avoiding the truth or skirting around the truth or sweeping things under the rug. We kind of got to address that great big elephant in the room. We got to address the shadow self in order for this new awareness to dawn. And so it might be an awareness like, hey, I got to move on from something here. I'm sure there's something that you need to move on from, whether it's a smoking addiction, a drinking problem, or, you know, a relationship, a career. Maybe you need to pack up and move on from a home that you've been living at. Who knows? It could be many, many things. Maybe you got to move on from how you deal with your finances because of the Uranus energy. But this really is a time of sowing, like reaping what you have sown, whether it be rewards or downfall. I do feel there's like a karmic reckoning playing this week, and that's not to instill fear, but we always will have our reality reflected back to us based on what we put out there. And so choices and ramifications were two very significant words that they wanted me to use, choices and ramifications. So facing the end of a cycle, living with the consequences of our karmic choices, and releasing, assimilation, tying up loose ends. All of these energies were very prominent. And so we kind of got to finish this ending and we got to move on. And so we kind of need to learn from the past. We need to close up this lesson. We need to learn from the past. We also need to make sense of our history and why history keeps repeating itself. And so all of our experiences, all of our life lessons, this is all coming into play this week. On Saturday, November the 16th, we're going to have the sun in opposition to Uranus in Taurus. We're going to have on Sunday, Mars trine the North Node, Mars in Leo, trine the North Node in Aries, and Mars is going to be going retrograde in Leo, going back into Cancer. And so this is a very intense time period. And so illumination, a need to make a sacrifice. This is all about seeking freedom. And there could be a realization of maybe the damage that was done when it comes to sabotaging a relationship by ghosting. And so ghosting is never recommended, okay? Being cold, being distant is just avoidance. And so we can't emotionally avoid what is being brought to the surface this week, I feel. And with Mars trine the North Node, this brought forward the Empress with the Ten of Cups. So what is your destiny? Your destiny is likely going to be illuminated. I'm a Mars in Leo. I'm really looking forward to this. I know my creative drive has kind of slowed down a little bit, but I'm also going through another layer of transformation. And so everything is kind of coming together for me. And so Your destiny is likely going to be illuminated. There's going to be a clear sense of your mission later in the week when it comes to your purpose. And so we're kind of all learning a karmic lesson, whatever that might be for you. And we're kind of getting to this place of the full integration of the lesson so we can go towards personal growth and achievement. So let's go a little bit further with the cards. Let me see if I can find a pen, and we'll timestamp the reading at this point. So we're going to go further with the cards. I did get a few new oracle decks earlier in the week, so I think we're going to start off with one of the new decks. I haven't had a chance to really dig into the cards yet, so I'm going to read them intuitively like I usually do. But let's jump in with the Guides of the Hidden Realms. This is a deck by Colette Baron Reed. I love her work. And so welcome in, Seeker. We are exploring these hidden realms. So let's see what needs to come through. Keep in mind, this is a collective message. It is not sign specific, but I will call out zodiac signs throughout the reading. If you would like to go further with a personal reading, check out all of the links below. But let's get into it. The river dances to the sea and focus on brilliance. So we get a 3 card and we get a 38 card. So there's like a Knight of Cups to an Empress. So there could be a divine feminine here coming into a new cycle in love, a love offer. And so I just feel this is all about focused intention. Somebody here is getting a lot of attention, I feel. There could be a divine feminine here getting a lot of attention. And so this is all about prioritizing. This is all about persevering through challenges. And so be in this state of flow. There is a divine feminine, I feel, in the state of flow, trusting in the adventure. And so so let's get at it and let's see what needs to come through. Messages for the collective, please. So yeah, just remember, guys, I'm just kind of here to nudge you in the right direction. If something is triggering you, then I encourage you to click off. But let's get a few of these cards out and let's see what the Guides of the Hidden Realms have to say when it comes to these potent energies playing out this week. What do we got for the collective this week when it comes to our destiny, to ourselves, to this exploration, to this completion of these lessons? Another chance to be. This is all about reclamation. This card is speaking of a second chance, a rebirth, and deep emotional healing. What I notice at the crown of this individual and around the throat chakra, it took my breath away, is the octopus energy. And so the octopus energy for me is kind of like the energy of the devil. And so the octopus has 8 arms and it's a very grabby energy. And so I also am being shown the 10 of Wands. There's a burden that needs to be released connected to addictions, codependencies, something here that has maybe turned toxic. And so with the octopus on the crown, I feel somebody is aware of the toxicity and there's a need to drop this into the throat, to speak your truth, to break yourself free. And so there is maybe a possibility of a second chance here after laying down the burden of addictions. There is another chance here for some type of connection to come together. We get connection through the cosmos. It's a 29 card. And so something about that home stretch with Pluto and Capricorn, it is bringing something together and bringing something to a completion. And so this is all about community, the connection through the cosmos. We are all interconnected. We are all a part of one great big cosmic circuit board. None of us are separate. And every time I do a reading, I am reminded of how interconnected every one of us are to one another. And so everything is connected. Every single thing is connected. And so there's something about a lesson coming full circle connected to the law of reciprocity. And then we get the consequence of fear, judgment, energy coming through. So I do feel there's a void. There's a speaking of the truth to break free from a toxic pattern, maybe to go towards a second chance in another direction. The black void on this card, it's feeling like a void, is saying you have to complete one cycle before going to the next. And so there is a void, and you need to understand there's still connection in that void. And then the consequences card, and so the consequences of actions and the consequences of fear. sometimes we can become so frozen in a state of fear that we stay stuck. And so it feels like this energy of something is being constricted or contracting. And so the frequency of fear really is a very low vibration frequency, and it will bring forward a self-fulfilling prophecy of negativity. And so there is a very strong energy of judgment coming through. And then on the bottom of the deck, we get Zenith at the peak. And so the red on the card is telling me root chakra energy. And so there is victory here. There is achievement on the other side of this completion, and it will lead to newfound tangible abundance. But you're at the zenith here. You are at the crossroads, the divine Y. It's a 2 card. And so really take that time to listen to the ancestors. Really take that time to integrate the wisdom, the lessons of this death process, and turn it into liquid gold. Turn it into knowledge. And so I do feel we kind of got to understand the fixed inherited patterns when it comes to family and ancestral traditions in order to finally overcome them. So let's go a little bit further with the tarot, and I was guided to use the Wildwood Tarot today. I really love the imagery on this deck. I just love the energy that the deck exudes. So look at that. Look at that. Oh my God. We get the Knight of Arrows, which is the hawk on the cut. Look at that, because the box splits it into 2. So we get the Knight of Arrows, which is the hawk card. And then we get the Green Woman. And so there is some type of offer coming for an Empress here, the Empress. And so I just want to say something is brewing. Something is brewing. And so the Knight of Arrows, is that the Knight of Swords? I do believe it's the Knight of Swords. And so somebody here, I feel, has been watching an Empress, is getting a higher vantage point. And I think there's going to be some type of communication coming to this Empress. So let's get 9 of these cards out, guys. Let's see what we can expect for the week ahead. So that Empress energy is connected to Taurus and Libra. So let's get 9 of these cards out and let's see what this is all about. There might be another chance to be with this Empress. I do feel there could be another chance to be with an Empress. So let's see what this is all about, guys. I'd like to quickly mention, if you'd like to become a channel member, check it out. There'll be a link below to join the membership for less than a cup of coffee a month. You can join me every Thursday live when I pull into all 12 zodiac signs. So we get the Queen of Bows, the Queen of Wands in reversed. We get the Page of Cups in reversed, or the Page of Vessels in reversed. We get the Hare, the Otter, and we get the Four of Vessels. And so there's boredom here that needs to be addressed. And so I feel boredom here in some type of connection. The Queen of Wands reversed. This can be a very jealous, possessive energy, and it can be a feminine, it can be a masculine. The Queen energy represents the inner feminine, and we all have an inner feminine, but there's jealousy issues here, and this goes all the way back to a pattern in childhood. And so, but there's also this sense of boredom when it comes to some type of relationship here. So let's keep going and let's see what else needs to come through. We get the Two of Cups in reversed, which is a separation. There's like no more attraction here in a connection. We get the Eight of Stones, but yet, hey, let's keep working on it. Let's keep building upon it. What else do we got here? We get the Eight of Arrows, which is indicating a struggle. And so I do feel there's this struggling energy coming through. I do feel a disconnect. I do feel a separation, but it's almost like since the 8/8 portal in Leo season, last Lionsgate, somebody's been trying to make something work that's meant to fall apart. And there's boredom, there's stuckness. The Eight of Arrows, or the Eight of Swords, is saying there's a struggle here. There's some type of an entrapment here in a situation, keeping yourself stuck. We get the Ten of Stones in reverse, which is leaving behind a home life. We get the Queen of Arrows in reversed, which is the Queen of Swords in reverse now. And so there is a very jealous, angry, bitter, feminine energy coming through. And then we get the Ace of Bows. And so there's a lot of negative emotions here that need to come to light, I feel, when it comes to a stuck situation. The bottom of the deck, we get the Ten of Bows. And so this is kind of all about taking responsibility for what we have created in our life. And so this feels like a pretty heavy lesson. We get the King of Arrows in reversed. So we do have two people here, I think, both going head to head here. There is some anger. There is some jealousy here. And this could be happening right now. This could be recent past. But there is a need to just lay down a burden. I feel two people here that struggle with communication, don't communicate very well, are both discontent and bored, and there needs to be an open, honest conversation here, because I do feel there is a loveless situation here with the Knight of Cups in reversed. And then below the Knight of Cups in reversed, we get the Mirror in reversed, which is the Hanged Man. And there's that octopus energy. Again, you can see the tentacles on this so-called fair maiden, or I just feel like a siren energy. And so there's mermaids and then there's sirens. And so the siren energy drags you deep into the depths of the underworld, right? It's a trap, it's a trick. And so there is like an entrapped situation here, I feel, that needs to complete. And so with the Knight of Cups reversed and the Mirror reversed, this is to reflect back to you where you are stuck without having an open heart. And so both with the Page of Cups reversed, Knight of Cups in reverse, there's a lack of open-heartedness. There's a lack of true intimacy here within a connection. And so what is this Eight of Stones? Like, why are we even trying to put in the effort into a situation here? Because I feel maybe because it's been a long-standing pattern, it kind of looks like a caveman here. And so this is about no longer repeating the history of our ancestors. So let's clarify the Eight of Stones, the Eight of Pentacles, because it's like there's such a disconnect here, and yet we got two people here still trying to put the work into a situation, even though it is a heavy burden. So let's clarify that. We get the Knight of Arrows in reverse now. So that hawk came out upright on the cut with an Empress. And so we do have a knight here that I feel is going to deliver some pretty harsh truth, is what I feel. We get the Three of Bows in reversed, and this is connected to a lack of fulfillment. And so this is the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands upright is saying it's time to take action. I just feel there's clearance here to go towards fulfillment. There's been a lack of fulfillment. If you notice on the card, you've got almost like the Kundalini energy rising, the life force energy rising, and we get the moon in reversed. And so by this Taurus full moon, there is going to be a wake-up call. I do think there's going to be some very challenging information coming through, very challenging communicative cycle that needs to reach completion. The moon in reverse is get ready for a wake-up call. There's a very cathartic process here going on, I feel. And if you look at this moon, it kind of does look like a bull on the card. If you can see that, it looks like a Taurus, the bull on the card. And so this is it, the rage, the release, the stuckness. And then we get the Nine of Arrows in reverse, the Nine of Swords in reverse. And so we've got a masculine here that is no longer going to stay dedicated to a cycle. The Emperor in reverse is somebody that, you know, doesn't utilize logic, lacks discipline, lacks drive. The Emperor in reverse can kind of display abusive, narcissistic tendencies. And I do feel there's a lot of frustration because there could have been a missed opportunity when it comes to the very foundations of a brand new beginning, the Ace of Pentacles. And so it is a journey. There is a journey through the underworld, I feel, this week with the Death card. And I do feel there's a masculine here going through a big fall. The fall from grace, the fall. So we could have a masculine closing out a very karmic cycle, being prepared to go into the void, facing the consequences of action. So it is going to lead to a brand new beginning. What does this karmic feminine or this karmic queen energy have to say? The Star. So with the Queen of Bows in reversed and the Queen of Arrows in reversed, I do feel this is one energy. And what does she have to say? She just wants healing. She wants to be cleared and pay off this karmic debt. And I do think there's a recognition of something toxic here. So the Devil card, the Guardian, the toxicity. And so healing from codependencies, healing from a karmic cycle. And this is about dropping the defenses. Stop pushing against the grain. There's clearance here. There's a need to move on. And so what is the Ace of Bows leading this cycle to, leading this completion to? So on the 10 of Bows, we had a card fall out and we get the Hooded Man. And so there's been a lot of contemplation, I feel, about a long overdue conversation. It's representative of Virgo energy. And on the Queen of Bows, we got the Seer in reverse that landed out. And so I just feel we've got a feminine here that maybe received some poor advice, was overly reliant on other people's advice, and is now seeing things very clearly. And so to clarify the Ace of Bows, we get the Five of Pentacles in reversed. And so this is all about healing that lack mentality. This is all about endurance. We get the Queen of Cups in reversed, the Salmon energy, and we get the Stag. And so it's going to take great strength to release a very karmic pattern, a very karmic cycle. And then further, we get the Eight of Vessels in reverse, the Eight of Cups in reverse, and the Ace of Vessels. And so this is an energy of going back and wanting a second chance when it comes to a new beginning in love. And so what is meant to be will be, but I do feel there's a king here, a King of Wands, surrounded by a bunch of snakes and is being challenged with a lot of bad karma in these energies is really what it feels like. So what is the overall outcome here with that mirroring energy? Because there is going to be a shift in perspective and it's coming in quickly. So what is the mirror all about? The Nine of Cups in reversed, generosity or lack thereof, the mirror of addictions. The Nine of Cups is overindulgence, it's addictions, it's codependencies, and using addictions as a mask to block the past injustices. And so something about consequences here for sure. And this has been a block to some type of twin soul, twin flame, divine counterpart reunion. And so there is a reunion on the horizon, and there is a masculine deep in his emotions. And he's getting ready to face a challenge, a long overdue challenge. And this is about the truth, right? And so the breath of life is being activated, I feel, for a divine masculine. And this is a long overdue healing taking place this week is what it feels like. So what is the healing about? Let's go in with the Inner Child deck. And so I do see the Sun card. I do see Capricorn, Aquarius, Leo energy, very prominent. I see air, Earth. I see Gemini. Pretty much all of the signs are here, Leo. But what is the Inner Child Oracle message here? What is this overdue healing all about? And so the Seven of Stones in reverse is, first of all, somebody's been focused on a dead end, watering a dead tree for a long time, something that's been dead and gone for a very long time. There is an energy of releasing stuckness when it comes to the healing path. And so I do feel that Capricorn and Pluto, that home stretch, is all about facing these challenges head on. And so the Inner Child card is Run Wild. Run Wild. Bottom of the deck, emotions are the reflection. And so emotions are always going to be a reflection of a deeper meaning from within us. And so there's that Hanged Man energy. It's a 12 card. And the Run Wild card is 29. And that came through in the members live the other day. And they're letting me hear that song again, Wild Horses. And so this card is absolutely stunning. We've got a horse, you see here, with monarch butterfly wings. And so it's time to run wild. It's time. And so this full moon, I feel, is illuminating some type of union coming together. And we're going to need to look for that deeper meaning. So let's read the 29 card. No, we're going to read the 12 card first. And so emotions can often indicate how an event is affecting your inner child. When you experience an unusually intense emotional response to a current situation, it's usually a sign of an aspect of your inner child that is hurting deep down inside. And so since your inner child can carry many different wounds from childhood into your present moment as an adult, when these intense emotions do arise, it is a really good idea to take a moment to sit with them and then with that hurt inner child. And so bring this into your awareness, because ask yourself these questions. If something has become overwhelming, you do need to heal it. You do need to have patience with yourself in this process of healing. And so is your current emotional situation attached to something deeper inside of you, right? Triggers come to pinpoint. The one holding the hairpin trigger really isn't the one that created the wound. So ask yourself how it feels to understand the deeper meaning of your emotions. And then that Run Wild card, we're going to read into the book for that one, because this is a brand new deck, and I'm loving this Inner Child deck. I highly suggest ordering yourself a deck if you do the cards, but there's a wild aspect when it comes to being a child. And so we are here to be carefree, not naive, but carefree when it comes to our partnership with spirit. And so there's an intense connection to our senses when we are children. Children feel things more deeply and experience the world through more openness than we do as adults because they're not as tainted, right? And so children have little care for how things are supposed to be. They want to do things their way, right? And so it's kind of time to just go into that inner child that resides within you, even though you're probably an adult, because there's magic in contacting that mindset of the inner child again. And so one of the best ways to be wild is to be messy. Go barefoot outside, get a group of friends together, have a balloon fight, just embrace that inner child. And so how does it feel to be messy? I know I'm really not a fan of messy things, but my youngest daughter has really taught me to tap into that inner child again. And so what does your adult self feel when you embrace the messiness of life? What does your inner child feel? What is stopping you from allowing yourself this pleasure of enjoying the beautiful mess of life? And that's kind of what I got for the week ahead, guys. So I really do hope this helped. I hope this resonated. If you would like to go further with a personal reading, check it out down below. I also now offer private one-on-one astrology mentorship. If that's something that interests you, there will be a link below in the comment section. Check it out. I'd love to have you sign up for the mentorship. Have a great week ahead, everybody. And I do look forward to seeing you all again next time. Thank you.